See, if you're going to be a producer and create value for others, how do they reward you for that? How do they compensate you for that? What if it's a stranger that you don't even know, but you've created some product that they want to utilize? They do that with money. And so if you want to have a lot of money, find the way to create the most value in the world. Because dollars follow value. It's that simple. It's good to be here. Couple things about the introduction. That's a paper that someone else wrote about me. Self-made, that term is kind of a limiting mindset, or just a limiting term, because by no means anything that I've done has been self-made. It's been only because I've had the ambition to actually learn and also be associated with great people, like-minded individuals, be associated with mentors, people that you see in this room. Steve Harrop's in the room, one of my mentors. Dean Templin's in the room, another one of my mentors. Just people that have been extraordinary in my life. When I was graduating SUU, it was the peak of the economy. It was '99, everything was going great. I had a lot of job offers at the time, and I had already been doing kind of an advising role even while I was in college. And I wasn't sure what I should do, but these other job offers looked really good. There were some prestigious firms and the names of the firms, and some that the school hadn't even placed yet. And yet I was being pretty successful doing this entrepreneurial thing, and I was really torn, and it was a really difficult time in my life trying to decide what did I want to do. I remember sitting down with Dean Templin, and he said, you know what? I think it's pretty obvious. You have a certain passion for what you're doing. You love what you're doing. He says, you're making pretty good money. You're probably making more than some of the professors here. Why would you ever want to go do these other jobs just because of the name behind them? And I thought that was great, because in the interest of the university, he could have thought, hey, let's build the university's name with some of these firms. But instead he saw, I could tell what Garrett really wants, but he was one of the few voices that was willing to say, follow your dream, follow your passion, follow the thing that cultivates energy for you. Don't just do something because everyone else in society thinks it's the way to go. From my grandparents to my parents to everyone that was influencing my life, they thought, you really got to go get this secure job and go work for someone else. And you know what, for a lot of us, being an entrepreneur, being an entrepreneurial-minded person that's within an organization is critical, and it'd be the right path. But for me, I thrive on innovation and creation and thinking of new ideas and new concepts and what can we do to expand people's minds and bring new things to the marketplace. And any of those other jobs weren't really going to allow me to do that. So I just wanted to publicly acknowledge Dean Templin. I wanted to publicly acknowledge Steve Harrop for just being tremendous value creators in my life, and people that I would call producers. Now, producer is a term that that we've kind of coined. When people hear the term producer, sometimes they think of like a grocery store and that little section where you go and buy produce. But what we mean by it is individuals who are committed to creating more value than they consume. If you really think about, in each moment of each day, what can you do to create more value for the people that you're around than the value you look to take, it's a different mindset. It's a different way of viewing the world. I would call it a view of abundance. In the view of abundance, we look around and we see plenty of opportunity. We see plenty of things that can be done. We see ways that we can engage in the world and make a difference. But in scarcity, people go around and they think of all the reasons why things won't work, why things are destined to fail, why there's never enough. If they could only have more money, then they'd be happy. If someone else would only give them that great, lucky opportunity, then they would survive, and not only survive, they would thrive and be the success that they want to be. See, the scarcity mentality is one of a consumer mindset. And the consumer mindset is so destructive to human nature. It's so destructive to really our ability to love life and enjoy life and be fully engaged and live in a life that we can walk around and say, you know what, I'm happy. If you're in the consumer mindset and in scarcity, it's impossible to be happy on a consistent basis, because you're always going to be looking for some external event or circumstance to bring you joy. But instead, if you look and say, what do I have within me? Who am I and what are my abilities? And you engage in those natural talents and those things that you're passionate about and do that in the service of others, especially other people that value that, that's exciting. That's fun. That's where you start to really find happiness. And so it's such a simple equation. It's such a simple concept, but one that if you just pay attention to for a moment and you just think about and digest today, can make a difference for the rest of your life. It's not an equation that you're going to learn in your finance or economics courses, but to me, it's the key to all finance and to all economics. Because really the way the world works, it's governed by principles. And we can either align with them and thrive, or we could be ignorant to them and merely survive. The question is, what do you want in your life? What are you doing to discover the principles that are out there? Obviously, you're being educated when it comes to certain topics, certain concepts, certain things that are critical for you to thrive in what you're doing. But ultimately, if you're in it with the wrong mindset, no education you get here is going to matter. If you're in the scarcity mindset, you'll destroy whatever greatness was already available to you or already within you. So it's very simple. If you're a producer, you're going to create more value than you consume. The way you create more value than you consume is find the things that you love to do and do it in the service of those who love what you do. It's a pretty simple equation, but it makes all the difference in the world. Have you ever been around people that are complete consumers, and every time you're around them, they're just looking to, suck the life out of you and the energy, and you're just thinking, man, this is no fun. Consumers are the ones that keep the thieves in business. And the consumer mindset is, and what I'm talking about now, is really easy to recognize when we're talking about it philosophically. But it's very subtle and destructive when we're out there on a day-to-day basis, and especially when times feel like they're difficult or tough. See, anyone can be in abundance when everything seems to be going perfect. Like finals are over, everyone's in abundance. Everyone's happy, right? But the week before finals, there's a lot of scarcity, At least if you're me, I hadn't studied quite enough, and I waited till the last minute every now and again. Part of that entrepreneurial mindset. But you find scarcity in situations when people are saying, this isn't what I want, this isn't ideal. But I'll tell you, when you're faced with scarcity, you'll find that you're in scarcity because of the way you feel. You'll feel negative emotions, fear, doubt, worry, concern. But to stay in scarcity would mean that instead of doing something about it, instead of making a choice that would say, I'm responsible for the next moment, for the next choice, that's what you would do in abundance. In scarcity, you would blame that circumstance on why you are where you are and why you feel the way you do. So things happen all the time. Events come up. You could plan your life to be ideal today, and I guarantee you there will be things that happen along the way that were unplanned, that will look as if they're unfortunate, that will feel as if the world's coming down on your shoulders. But those are also the greatest lessons, and those obstacles are the raw ingredients for some of the best businesses you've ever seen. Some of the best things that we've ever learned from people happened because they were going through some time of discontent, and they said, how do I overcome this? What can I do about it? They create a system. And there's other people that would have to face that if it wasn't for that system, if it wasn't for that knowledge, if it wasn't for that experience. But it's because they did something. They didn't just fall victim to that. See, victimhood is scarcity mentality to the T. People that say, why me? Poor me. What good does that do for you? How does that move you forward to the successful life that you want? What it does is it gets a lot of people to say, you're right, it's not your fault. You're right, this is just the way it is. And then that's when people start saying, look, you were doing something and it was risky. I think risk is the most misunderstood and misused term that's thrown out all the time. Here's what real risk is to the consumer. If you're inside of a social agreement, meaning this is the routine, this is the way life is every day, this is what's familiar, this is the comfort zone. Risk to the consumer is you've stepped outside of that. You've said, I'm willing to try something that's never happened before. I'm willing to do something that doesn't even exist today. But that's how producers live. Producers are the ones that create the very things that we enjoy before they even existed. Consumers say, I'll believe it when I see it, but the very seeing of anything is what deceives them. Because they look for the evidence of why something won't work. They look for the evidence of, hey, that's just not me, or I think that people that have money have exploited others, or they're bad people, or they must have done something deceitful. This is part of the justification. See, but the craziness behind it, or the dilemma, is a consumer actually wants more money, even if they say they don't. Even if they say money's not important, they want more money, but they feel bad for wanting it because they think that people that have money are bad people and they don't want to be a bad person. So it's this dilemma they're always in. They think money's bad, but they want more of it. What are they going to do about it? They have to understand and align with principle. See, if you're going to be a producer and create value for others, how do they reward you for that? How do they compensate you for that? What if it's a stranger that you don't even know, but you've created some product that they want to utilize? They do that with money. And so if you want to have a lot of money, find a way to create the most value in the world. Because dollars follow value. It's that simple. People that don't have enough money have to examine and look at their own life and say, what am I doing to create enough value for enough people? And I get a lot of circumstances where people say, but what about Mother Teresa? Do you know how much money that woman controlled during her lifetime? That she just didn't hoard it. It flowed right through her to whatever cause was greatest. And that's the thing. We've been taught, trained, and educated our whole life that life is about building a net worth, and that once you build a net worth, that's going to tie to your self-worth. But my question is, if you build that net worth, what are you going to do about it? If you never spend the money that you build your whole life and you never utilize it and enjoy it, it's insurance that's going to someone else. But if instead you understand how to be a producer and you're a steward over those resources and you let them come to you and flow through you and build yourself up by helping other people, then you're going to really get money coming towards you.
Want to master your money? Want to figure out the things that you could do to improve your finances? Click here and check out more videos like this on Money Matters.